Good morning. How are you?
Pat, I'm fine. How are you?
Oh, just great, Dale. So, I know we've talked a lot about your classroom instruction, and you've been concerned about some of the issues that your students are having.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes. Well, the school year has started out fairly well, but now we're at the point where we're supposed to be doing some writing. And I'm finding that I have a classroom of reluctant writers. That when it comes time to write, whether it's a personal narrative or any type of writing, they're just very reticent to even attempt to do it. And I'm kind of running out of ways to motivate them to write, inspire them to write, and the writing that they do produce, just very, very limited, not a lot of effort put into it.
So, Dale, as you reflect on this current school year, you're noticing that writing appears to be a challenge for some of your students. And you've mentioned that they are even reluctant, unmotivated. Tell me a little bit more about their reluctancy, their motivation.
Well, what happens is when it's time to write, to even get their thoughts organized, you begin to see the body language, the grumbling, the slumping in the seat, even, oh, I hate to write, I don't like to write. And it makes me wonder, is it that they lack skills? Is it that they lack the topic? I'm just really lost at this point. This is the first time that I've had students that really dislike writing so much. Most students at least put forth an effort, and we can at least get through to the pre-writing stage. We don't even get to the pre-writing stage, even with them brainstorming.
So as you consider those students that really appear to be almost annoyed or very reticent about even taking on this whole idea of writing, tell me how many of your students exhibit these behaviors? Is it all of your class? Some? How many students are reticent to get started with writing?
As I think about it, it isn't everyone. It isn't everyone, but I'm thinking there's mostly boys. There's about, I would say, 5 or 6 of them that really don't want to participate in the task.
So, Dale, knowing that you value writing as a skill for all of your students to master, what are some strategies that come to mind when you think about reaching all of your students, especially those boys?
Pat, several times I've had a lot of success with writing, and I remember that I actually went to the board and modeled writing a story. And the topic was the scariest thing I've ever seen. It was around Halloween. And I just stood at the board and I thought aloud as I wrote. And then as a whole class, we kind of went through and edited the story. But I was thinking, I've done that with younger children. And I was wondering, will this work with middle school students? That's really why I hadn't tried it, because they're older.
So, Dale, a Think Aloud strategy has really proven beneficial as you reflect on your younger students and engaging them and getting started to write.
Yes.
Yet you're questioning, with this strategy, really work with older students. I'm wondering, Dale, what are your hesitancies about using this particular strategy with older students, the Think Aloud strategy?
Well, I was thinking they might think it was too, they say this is baby work. They might think it's too immature. But as I think about it, Pat, I'm wondering if I had a more advanced topic maybe, or maybe if I found out what they'd be interested in writing about. Many of them have hobbies outside of school. Some are on the basketball team. They do have other interests. I'm wondering if I maybe looked at what are they interested in, and maybe using that is a topic to use a think aloud strategy with. I don't know. That's a possibility.
So an idea that comes to mind right away is thinking about high interest, the topic that they may select. And you've also lifted that perhaps giving them choice as to the topic that they might write about might be beneficial for them. You know, Dale, as I've talked to other teachers, there's been a couple of strategies that they've used with their middle school youngsters that they've really found beneficial. Would you like me to share a couple of those that they've shared with me?
I would, because I'm thinking as we're talking, using like high interest for their age level would be a good pairing with some strategies that I haven't used before.
So one idea that they've shared with me is the idea of using thinking maps. Thinking maps is one that really elicits their students in organizing their thoughts and in really getting started. Another idea that they've shared is one of Marzano's strategies, and it's all about summarizing and organizing thinking. Of these two ideas, Dell, which one would benefit your students most?
I'm thinking the thinking maps, and because they're having trouble getting started. And I think a strategy just to get them started with thinking, that might work. So I think the thinking maps would be the most beneficial at this time for where the students are.
So a big idea is really getting them started, and thinking
Yes.
maps might be that avenue for you to use to really get them engaged and get them
Yes.
started. Dale, I'm wondering if you would like me to come into your classroom and model a lesson using thinking maps.
Okay. That sounds like a really good idea, and then I could really take some notes and just really observe how the strategy works. I would like that. I would like that. I have really, let me see, second hour, maybe Monday next week would be a good time to come in.
Okay, that sounds great, Dale. I can work that into my schedule to come in and do a demonstration lesson. And then I'm wondering if we could kind of maybe have a lunch together and talk about what you noticed me doing. And what's most important is, what was the impact on your students?
Okay.
So let's try to schedule in some time for me to come in, do the lesson, and then have lunch to talk about what you noticed that model lesson did for your students.
That sounds like a plan to me, Pat. So I'll see you Monday, second hour?
Monday, second hour will be 5.
Okay, I'm looking forward to trying something new with my students.
Thanks again, Dale, for your time. I've enjoyed the conversation.
Me too, Pat.
Okay.
Thanks.